Tuesday's a busy day around here, so Monday nights I usually stay up late to do the preview for Tuesday because there's a lot of games on Tuesday, and trying to do the preview Tuesday morning is not easy. That being said, I'm going to say right at the start of this, I don't know how many times I'm going to misspeak. I don't know how many times I misspoke in tonight's review. I'm working on 2 hours sleep in the last 48 hours, and I'm doing my best. And so we're going to get through this. I'm going to upload it, and I'm probably just going to go and crash after that. But hopefully I get my sleep tonight, and then I do the videos tomorrow that I meant to do today when I didn't end up having the energy or the ability to focus. And my focus was, I caught myself putting names up here really incorrectly earlier too. So I was like, what the hell? That's that Carlson's with one S. He's not Swedish. All right. First up, Minnesota's in against Boston. That's right. And for people who wonder why I'm wearing Hartford, well, because Carolina's playing. Carolina's on the second board. We'll get to Carolina. And I figure, I didn't wear the Hartford when they wore the Hartford when they played against Boston. I didn't bring it with me to Vegas. And I'm going to wear it for this preview because I should at least wear Hartford twice during previews for Carolina's sake. Minnesota's 21-17-3 after tonight's win. Boston's 24-14-4. Over their last 10, Minnesota's 4-5-1. They've won 3 in a row. Over their last 10, Boston's 7-3. They've won 4 in a row. Boston's been looking better lately. On the road, Minnesota's now 11-10. At home, Boston's 15-5. So they really need to assert themselves. Versus the East, Minnesota's now 7-6-1 versus the West. Boston's 9-4-3. Now, this is the back half of a back-to-back for Minnesota. So for Boston, it's going to be a matter of wear them down, weather whatever kind of attack they have out of the first 10 minutes tomorrow, and they can likely get the win. But that being said, Minnesota's proving to be tough. They have their eye on not just getting into a playoff spot, but making sure they keep it. So not to be underestimated tomorrow for sure. Granlund leads them in scoring with 12 goals, 27 assists. Parise, 19 goals, 19 assists. Suter, 4 goals, 23 assists. Stahl, 13 goals, 13 assists. Spurgeon, 7 goals, 17 assists. Koivu, 6 goals, 18 assists. Dumba, 12 goals, 10 assists. Of course, he's still injured. Coyle, 7 goals, 15 assists. Zucker, 10 goals, 10 assists. And Niederreiter rounds out the top 10 for the Minnesota Wild with 7 goals and 13 assists. On the Boston side of things, Pastrnak, 25 goals, 27 assists. Marchand, 15 goals, 29 assists. Bergeron, 13 goals, 22 assists. Krejci, 7 goals, 26 assists. Can I go back to something, though? So the Hockey News, they have a writer say, here's who I think is going to win the awards at mid-season, and he's got Bergeron for the Selke. Look, Bergeron hasn't played enough to get into the Selke. I'm tired of this. I had this argument last year that there were other players that I thought probably deserved the Selke more. And it's so weird because I love Bergeron, but it's just, I always see that. Like, oh, Bergeron's played 65 games. He's the Selke winner. And I don't know that people have necessarily watched enough hockey to know that he's better than Barkov. I would think Barkov, Carlson's fantastic too. It's just so weird. Krejci, 7 goals, 26 assists. Krug, 4 goals, 22 assists. DeBrusk, 13 goals and 3 assists. Grzelcyk, 1 goal, 11 assists. Backus, now on the board with 4 goals, 7 assists. McAvoy, 1 goal, 10 assists. And Kuraly, with 4 goals and 6 assists, gets onto the board in the 10th spot. Goaltenders, Stalock is likely because Dubnyk played tonight. Stalock is 5-3 with a 2.6 goals against, 903 save percentage, and 0 shutouts. Dubnyk 16-14-3 now with a 2.56 goals against, 915 save percentage, and the 1 shutout, which came tonight. On the Boston side, they've confirmed Rask. Rask is 11-8-2, 2.55 goals against, 917 save percentage. He's still seeking his first shutout. That makes Halak the backup. Halak 13-6-2, 2.36 goals against, 926 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. And we're at that point where I'm starting to wonder, is Rask going to take that starting job back now? Is he going to start getting the lion's share of starts as they start looking forward to the playoffs? I mentioned the word start quite a bit in that sentence. We could go back and disregard it. No, I'll leave it in there. I don't want to have to use the neuralizer yet. It's the thing, right? Men in Black wouldn't lie to me, right? No, wouldn't lie to me. All right, next up, Dallas. So the Stars, who are 22-17-4 after a loss in Winnipeg, which was frustrating as it was predictable. It's not that I'm Karnak or anything. It's just predictable that Dallas is going to blow it. Now they're in against St. Louis, and St. Louis is also on the back half of a back-to-back tomorrow night. We'll see Jake Allen. I know they haven't confirmed the goaltenders one way or the other. The only game that had confirmed goalies was actually that first one I just told you guys about. None of the other ones have any confirmation or any likelihoods because I'm doing, of course, the night before. If I did it tomorrow morning, I'd get more likelies and confirms, but you also get a ton less views. All right, we'll get through it. My throat's just, I don't care. So Dallas at 22-17-4. St. Louis now at 17-19-4. St. Louis has to go on a big run. The problem is when you look at the records over the last 10, Dallas is 6-3-1. They lost their last game. St. Louis is 5-5, and they won their last game. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. If they follow that pattern tomorrow night against Dallas, they should be bad, which is good for Dallas. But on the road, Dallas is 8-12-2 at home. St. Louis is 10-12-2. So neither team does particularly well in these surroundings. Dallas being on the road and St. Louis being at home. Versus the West, Dallas is 13-8-2. Versus the West, St. Louis is 11-13-4. So again, if St. Louis is going to make themselves relevant in the West, they need to go on a run, and they kind of need it now. And Dallas, look, you got Minnesota right there. If they lose in regulation, Minnesota wins in regulation. That officially has Minnesota breathing down their neck. So Dallas, this is a kind of, it's not a must win, but it's a, you should probably go out there and try to get this in St. Louis, especially against a team that played against Philadelphia. Scoring leaders for Dallas, Sagan with 15 goals, 24 assists. Radulov, 14 goals, 23 assists. Ben, 17 goals, 15 assists. Spezza, 6 goals, 15 assists. Heiskanen, 9 goals, 10 assists. Klingberg, 5 goals, 13 assists. Lindell, 6 goals, 11 assists. Shore with 5 goals, 12 assists. Faksa, 7 goals, 9 assists. And Janmark with 3 goals, 11 assists rounds out your top 10 for Dallas. On the St. Louis side of things, Ryan O'Reilly, 16 goals, 24 assists. He's now at 40 points in 40 games for St. Louis. Perron, 14 goals, 15 assists. Tarasenko, 12 goals, 12 assists. Shen, 9 goals, 15 assists. Bozak, 6 goals, 12 assists. Schwartz, 3 goals, 14 assists. Dunn also has 3 goals, 14 assists. Steen, 6 goals, 9 assists. Pietrangelo, 5 goals, 9 assists. And Robert Thomas, 4 goals, 9 assists, rounds out the top 10 for the Blues. Goaltenders, no confirmation. I could see Bishop in this one, to be honest. Hudobin's 8-7-2 with a 2.52 goals against, 924 save percentage, and 1 shutout. I could see them going either way. I would probably go with Bishop. Bishop's 14-10-2, 2.41 goals against, 921 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. And again, it's because you're probably anticipating a team in St. Louis that should be tired, so maybe. We'll see. On the St. Louis side of things, I expect Jake Allen because Binnington played tonight. Binnington's 1-0 now with a 1.87 goals against, 920 save percentage, and of course that shutout. Allen, 14-13-4, 3.07 goals against, 898 save percentage, and he also has a shutout. So we'll see where that ends up because, again, St. Louis putting together back-to-back games is difficult, but for Dallas, those wins on the road have been elusive and difficult to get. And I don't necessarily anticipate that changing. I should, because it's St. Louis, right? But don't. It's not a thing. Rangers, 17-17-7. That's a nice record, right? 17-17-7. The only way to be nicer if it was just all 17s. Wouldn't make Rangers fans happier. And against the 26-15-4 Vegas Golden Knights, who, again, tomorrow night play against a team that's beatable. It's not their fault the record or the schedule worked out this way. But they've taken advantage of it so far, so good on them. The Rangers are 3-4-3 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. Vegas is 7-1-2. They've won 6 in a row. They haven't lost since I watched them live. And you're welcome. On the road, the Rangers are 6-12-2. At home, Vegas is 14-3-3. I apologize for that 3 at the end of the the list there because that's mine. I did that. Versus the West, the Rangers are 9-7-3, 9-7-3. Versus the East, Vegas is 10-9-2. So Vegas is better against the West than the East, but the record against the East has gotten better, much like their road record has gotten better during the season. Good news is they're at home. Scoring for the Rangers, it's been shaky. 11 goals, 23 assists for Zibanejad to lead them. Hayes, 10 goals, 23 assists. Kreider, 20 goals and 11 assists. VC, 10 goals, 10 assists. Pionk with 5 goals, 14 assists. Nemesnikov, 4 goals, 11 assists. Fast, 5 goals, 9 assists. Both Zuccarello and Howden have 4 goals and 10 assists. And Hedl rounds out the scoring with 6 goals and 7 assists. Coming off of a game where they got destroyed by the Arizona Coyotes, they now get to play Vegas. That's not really a good thing. Vegas, their leading scorer is Tuck. 14 goals and 19 assists for him. Carlson, 15 goals, 15 assists. Marchessault, 13 goals, 17 assists. Smith, 9 goals, 18 assists. Eakin, 12 goals, 12 assists. Pacioretty, 12 goals, 9 assists. Theodore, 4 goals, 16 assists. Colin Miller, 2 goals, 15 assists. Reeves, career highs are starting to show up for him because they're putting him in kind of an offensive role. 8 goals, 6 assists. Schmidt, 4 goals, 10 assists, rounds out your top 10 scorers for the Vegas Golden Knights. Goaltenders, no confirmation on this. I don't know what you do. Lundqvist has had some bad games lately. He's 12-11-7 with a 3.04 goals against, 909 save percentage. And I don't know if it's because they've overplayed him or what it is, but yeah, his play has definitely started to fall. Georgiev's 5-6 with a 3.36 goals against, 897 save percentage, and 1 shutout. On the Vegas side, I expect Fleury. Subban was good in his last game, though. Subban's 2-5 now with a 2.95 goals against, 903 save percentage. Fleury, 24, 10, and 4, 2.47 goals against, 912 save percentage, and 6 shutouts. 6. In a league that hasn't seen a ton of shutouts until recently, which is why I've started featuring them today, because I've noticed that shutouts are all of a sudden a thing again. We had 3 of them tonight, so we'll keep an eye on how that works. And if it doesn't turn out that there's very many shutouts occurring, say, over the next week, I'll probably drop it again. But for now, it looks good. But I expect Fleury in net for Vegas because they don't like to use Subban. Now, the fact that Subban played really, really well in the last game bodes well for him. For the Rangers, there isn't really anything that bodes well other than the fact that in this coming draft, they could potentially get number 1 in the draft lottery and get Jack Hughes. The Rangers desperately need that presence down the middle. I've argued that for the whole time this channel's been around, that what the Rangers need and what they don't have is that star power down the middle, that player that they can turn to in all situations. That's why I thought they were going to be all in on Tavares, but Tavares looked and went, Rangers? I'm not going to the Rangers. I'm not going to the Rangers. I'm going to go to my pajamas. Next up, Montreal. The Habs now 22-16-5. They're on the road. So coming off of the shutout loss at home against Minnesota, they should be angry, considering that was on the heels of the 4-1 loss against Nashville at home. So they've scored 1 goal in 2 games, and now they're going in against Detroit. And Detroit isn't really known as being a stingy team, nor are they considered a winning team. They're 16-21-7, but the fight's usually there with Detroit, so I don't anticipate this being a pushover. Montreal's 5-5 in their last 10. They lost their last 2. Detroit is 2-6-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game. On the road, Montreal's 11-7-3. At home, Detroit is a woeful 9-11-4. You've got to be better than that. Versus the East, Montreal is 12-8-5. Versus the East, Detroit is 10-15-6. So when you compare their records against the East, it's not a good sign for Detroit, but we'll see. This is why you play the games, right? Scoring leaders for Montreal, Domi, 14 goals, 24 assists. Drouin, 13 goals, 20 assists. Tatar, 14 goals, 17 assists. Petrie, 8 goals, 21 assists. Danault, 7 goals, 20 assists. Gallagher, 15 goals, 9 assists. Shaw, 11 goals, 13 assists. Lehkonen, 7 goals, 14 assists. Kotkaniemi, 4 goals, 16 assists. And Paul Byron, 9 goals, 6 assists to round out the top 10 for the Montreal Canadiens. On the Detroit side of things, Larkin, 18 goals, 23 assists. Nyquist, 10 goals, 26 assists. Athanasiou, 15 goals, 10 assists. Nielsen, 7 goals, 17 assists. Bertuzzi, 10 goals, 12 assists. Vanek, 7 goals, 10 assists. Green, 3 goals, 13 assists. Mantha, 10 goals, 5 assists. Cholowski, 6 goals, 9 assists. And Rasmussen rounds up the top 10 with 6 goals and 7 assists. So, the Detroit Red Wings, the scoring hasn't been awful, and for Montreal, more recently it kind of has again. So this might be a low-scoring game because I expect Carey Price. I know it's back-to-backs, right? I kind of expect Carey Price. 16, 12, and 4, 2.71 goals against, 909 save percentage, 2 shutouts, which would make Niemi the backup, 6-4 and 1. Might be tempted to put Niemi in because it's Detroit, right? 4.01 goals against, 891 save percentage for Antti Niemi. On the Detroit side of things, I expect Howard. He's 11, 11, and 5, 2.78 goals against, 917 save percentage. And Bernier, 5, 10, and 2, 3.57 goals against, 892 save percentage. Detroit is a team that is without a shutout this year. So this is a matchup between a team that's out of the playoffs, not going to make the playoffs, and one that's really trying hard to make sure they don't become one of those teams as well. If Montreal loses this game against Detroit and we see teams that they're competing with for those spots continue to play well, I do wonder what is going to be Montreal's move. Do they just keep everything the way it is and just let it ride? Or at what point does Bergevin say, all right, I've got to make a move here because we're threatening to fall out of it? So that's going to be interesting to see with them. But that being said, Detroit doesn't exactly burn up the charts when it comes to wins, so your guess is as good as mine on that one. Oilers, 20-19 and 3. Not a fantastic record. The Oilers have been the most hot and cold team in the league, I think. They'll have 5 good games, 5 abysmal games, maybe more than 5. And they're in against San Jose, who look kind of fantastic. Now, if not for Calgary, I'd say they're playing the best hockey in their division. No offense to the Vegas Golden Knights. I think we discount some of it with Vegas because they've had the weaker opponents. But I would say Calgary, San Jose, Vegas, all 3 of them are playing very well. But I would rank them in that order. 24, 13, and 7 is San Jose's record now over their last 10. These are teams going in different directions. The Oilers are trying to change that narrative. They're 3-7 with a win in their last game. The San Jose Sharks are 6-2 and 2. They've won 3 in a row. On the road, the Oilers are 10-10 and 2 versus the San Jose Sharks at home, who are 14-4 and 4 versus the West. Edmonton's 14-13 and 2 versus the West. San Jose 16-7 and 3. So that's their records. All right, I just had to clear up my throat a little bit. Try drinking something, and I'm sorry. I have to chew on a Halls for a bit, and hopefully that helps with all the coughing and hacking. It's day 4. I want it to be gone. All right. So, scoring for the Edmonton Oilers. McDavid, 24 goals, 38 assists. He's still the leading scorer, of course. Draisaitl, 23 goals, 29 assists. Nugent Hopkins, 14 goals, 24 assists. Chiasson, 16 goals, 4 assists. Darnell Nurse, who's had an amazing run. I understand it's been a down month. I understand since Klefbom got hurt, the record hasn't been good. But you know what? Nurse has not been the problem. 5 goals, 14 assists. Klefbom, 3 goals, 12 assists. Kara, 2 goals, 11 assists. Larson, 1 goal, 11 assists. And Benning and Lucic with a goal and 7 assists rounds out the top 10 for the Edmonton Oilers. On the San Jose side, Burns, 7 goals, 40 assists. Couture, 16 goals, 26 assists. Pavelski has 25 goals and 13 assists. Carlson, 3 goals, 35 assists now for 38 points. So yeah, he's on pace for about 70. Meyer, 18 goals, 19 assists. Hurdle, 15 goals, 19 assists. Kane, 14 goals, 16 assists. LeBanc, 4 goals, 20 assists. Donskoy with 11 goals and 11 assists. And Thornton rounds out the top 10. He now has 7 goals and 12 assists for 19 points this season. He's having a good year. Considering his age, ice time being cut back, it hasn't been a poor year for Thornton. Goaltenders. I expect Koskinen here. He has to be given another shot, I would think. And yet, Talbot had the shutout in the last game, so it'll be interesting to see. Koskinen's 12-8 and 1, 2.64 goals against, 915 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. Talbot's closing the gap. 8-11-2, 3.08 goals against, 899 save percentage, and 1 shutout. The San Jose side of things, there's Jones, 19-8-4, 2.82 goals against, and a save percentage of 899. 1 shutout. On the San Jose side, though, I expect Dell tomorrow because it's a back-to-back. He's 5-5-3 with a 3.10 goals against, 889 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. So when Dell plays well, he can get shutouts. He can be a misadventure at times as well, but so can Jones. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this one, because Edmonton looks like they're starting to develop 3 scoring lines through hook and by crook, I would think, but we'll see if it can continue. If Puljujarvi can get onto a streak, he had a goal in the last game. If he can really get it going, there's a chance that Edmonton can make things really interesting in the West for a playoff spot. Next up, Colorado. Yes, the Avalanche, who've had, they've had issues over the last month. They're in against the Winnipeg Jets, who haven't been fantastic. They've been good. They haven't been fantastic. The Avs are 20-14-8. The Jets are 26-13-2 over their last 10. Colorado's 3-5-2. They won their last game. The Jets are 6-4. They won their last game over, of course, the Dallas Stars. On the road, the Avalanche are 11-8-3 at home. Winnipeg is 14-6-2. That favors Winnipeg. A lot of these numbers favor Winnipeg. Versus the West, Colorado is 8-9-6. Versus the West, Winnipeg is 16-8-1. That also favors Winnipeg. If Colorado's going to pull out of this slump, tomorrow night's game could go a long way to doing so. A win in Winnipeg would be a huge exclamation point for this team as we get set for the All-Star break in a couple of weeks here. Rantanen leads them in scoring, of course, with 19 goals and 46 assists. McKinnon, 25 goals, 38 assists. Landeskog, 25 goals, 22 assists. Barrie, 5 goals and 25 assists. Kerfoot, 7 goals, 17 assists. Soderberg, 11 goals, 12 assists. Comfer, 10 goals, 8 assists. Jost, 6 goals, 8 assists. Nieto, 4 goals, 10 assists. And Wilson with 8 goals and 5 assists. On the Winnipeg side of things, Wheeler still leads the team in scoring with 6 goals and 45 assists for 51 points. Scheifele, 22 goals and 28 assists. Laine, 24 goals and 8 assists. Laine had an assist in the last game. But still, when you look at total points, Laine leaves you wanting. If he's in your fantasy, if goals mean more than assists, he's great. But if you're looking for total points, you end up wanting more from him. Connor, 14 goals, 15 assists. Bufflin, 4 goals, 25 assists. Ehlers, 15 goals, 12 assists, and of course he'll be out for a month. I would have done a news video related to today if not for being so overtired. Look for me to talk about this stuff tomorrow morning. Morrissey, 5 goals, 14 assists. Little, 7 goals, 15 assists. Trouba, 3 goals, 15 assists. And Perreault, with 8 goals, 8 assists, rounds out your top 10 scorers for the Winnipeg Jets. Overall, I really like this game for Winnipeg, but Colorado's due for a bit of a run here. I don't think Colorado's been as bad as they've looked over the last month. I don't necessarily think they were as good as they looked early, but somewhere in the middle, they'll find a happy place, and I could see them pulling off an upset over Winnipeg tomorrow. I would expect if Varlamov's healthy, he'll get started, or he'll be the starter anyways. 11-8-5 is his record, 2.8 goals against, 912 save percentage with 1 shutout. Grubauer, the other goaltender, 9-4-3, 3.13 goals against, 902 save percentage, no shutouts for him. On the Winnipeg side, I expect Hellebuck, but really I don't know why they're not giving Brossoit games. Hellebuck, 18-12-1, 2.83 goals against, 910 save percentage. Brossoit, 8-1-1 with a 2.11 goals against, 939 save percentage, and a single shutout. So, if you're following along at home, I do heavily favor the Jets in this overall, and yet the Akbar wants to say no, because of the fact that Colorado's in a dogfight. They can see Minnesota coming up behind them. Dallas is right there with them now. This may very well be what they needed to kickstart themselves and get them started. Anyways, I need to go ahead and pause while I switch boards. Next up, New Jersey and Buffalo. A matchup that at the start of the year we would have looked at and said, well, this will be a big game for New Jersey. Buffalo, they'll probably be closer than what they were. Turns out this is a big game for Buffalo and New Jersey. New Jersey 16, 18, and 7, which is the embodiment of in against Buffalo, who are 22, 14, and 6. For the Sabres, this is a big game. Over their last 10, New Jersey's 5 and 5. They lost their last game. Buffalo's 3, 5, and 2. They also lost their last game. Cannot afford to lose this one. I think with the losses Montreal's been suffering over the last few days, Buffalo needs to jump on this. So does New Jersey. If they want to get back in the hunt, this is a perfect time to do it because you're kind of running out of time. But on the road, New Jersey's 5, 14, and 3. At home, Buffalo's 13, 5, and 3. Those numbers really don't favor the New Jersey Devils. Versus the East, New Jersey's 9, 13, and 3. Versus the East, Buffalo's 11, 9, and 5. So again, those numbers would favor Buffalo at home. We saw tonight out of 5 games, 4 of them were won by road teams. We may very well see a run by home teams tomorrow night. Because it looks like in most of these matchups, the home team should absolutely win. Scoring. Hall still leads the way for New Jersey, despite the fact he hasn't played in a while. 11 goals, 26 assists. Palmieri, 20 goals, 16 assists. Hischier, who's been playing absolutely fine in Hall's absence, 12 goals, 17 assists. Zajac, 10 goals, 13 assists. Coleman, 12 goals, 8 assists. Severson, 5 goals, 15 assists. Boyle, 11 goals, 5 assists for him. Bratt, 3 goals, 13 assists. Johansson, 6 goals, 9 assists. And Vatanen, with 3 goals and 12 assists to round out the top 10 for the Devils. On the Buffalo side of things, Eichel, 15 goals, 34 assists. He, of course, has been out as well. So that's something these two teams have in common. Both of them, the number one scorer, not in the lineup. Skinner, 28 goals, 13 assists. Reinhart, 9 goals, 31 assists. Rasmussen, no, Shannon. Absolutely not. No. I'm going to pause and fix that. Rasmussen. I don't care how tired I am. That's unforgivable. I don't deserve sleep tonight either. I can't be doing that. I'll be doing videos tomorrow with just wearing sunglasses, just sort of dazed for like 30 seconds at a time if I go without sleep tonight. Ristolainen. Is that better? I think that's better. 5 goals, 21 assists for him. Dahlin, 4 goals, 16 assists. Palmenville, 9 goals, 9 assists. Rasmussen. And Okposo, 6 goals, 10 assists. Sherry, 7 goals, 8 assists. Middlestad, 5 goals, 6 assists. So, is Casey Middlestad, is this a matter of him not being ready to get the ice time, just not getting the ice time, or losing the ice time? You look at his stats, they're underwhelming, and you wonder, did things go wrong, or is he just a slow starter? He doesn't seem to be getting anything lately. Is that just, low ice time? It's going to be interesting to see how it progresses from here for the rest of the season. And Evan Rodriguez rounds out the top 10 with 2 goals and 9 assists. Goaltenders, I kind of expect Blackwood. He's 3-2, 1.83 goals against, 3.47 goals against. That's not right. No, it's a 947 save percentage. See, this is, like I said, part of being this tired is that all these numbers, as I'm writing them down, they all start kind of bleeding together. So I'd be writing them and then I'd have to take a bit of a break. Yeah, 947 is his save percentage, not 3.47. That's not even a percentage. That's amazing. 2 shutouts for him. Kincaid, 13, 11, and 6 with a 3.00 goals against, 900 save percentage. He has 3 shutouts, but again, I would expect Blackwood tomorrow night. Hutton, 13, 12, and 3 with a 2.63 goals against, 917 save percentage. No shutouts for him, which is kind of a surprise. Ullmark, 9, 2, and 3 with a 2.69 goals against, 924 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. I would expect Hutton tomorrow night, but Ullmark has the better record. And at some point, Phil Housley, I would think, kind of has to play him that way. That, as long as he has a better record, why not give him the shot? Play him. His stats are generally better. It's close between the two, and it's been seen from the start of the year as kind of being a 1A, 1B situation anyways. So, yeah, we'll see what they do with that. Rasmussen, and then a save percentage in 3.47. Wow, let's go over to the next column. I can't wait. So, the Carolina Hurricanes, 19, 17, and 5, in against the New York Islanders, who are 23, 13, and 4. These are the two surprisingly hot teams. The Hurricanes are trying their best to make themselves relevant in the playoff chase. They have to win this game. This winning streak, I would think, has to hit about 7. And then they have to maintain a pretty solid record from there. And then we could talk about them as a potential playoff team. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. Whereas the Islanders are 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 6 in a row. So while we're all talking about Pittsburgh, meanwhile, the Islanders, all they've done is win 9 out of 10. No big deal. Nothing major. Nothing to see here. We just solidified ourselves into the playoffs. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. On the road, Carolina's 8-10-1. At home, the Islanders are 10-5-3. That favors that matchup. That part of it definitely favors the Islanders. Versus the East, Carolina's 12-11-3 versus the East. The Islanders are commanding 15-5-4. They do not lose in regulation regularly against teams in the East. And so that again favors them. Now we look at scoring. Aho now has 16 goals and 29 assists to lead the Carolina Hurricanes. Teravainen, 10 goals, 24 assists. Williams, 9 goals, 14 assists. Ferland, 12 goals, 7 assists. Svechnikov, 11 goals, 8 assists. Slavin, 4 goals, 11 assists. Falk, 3 goals, 12 assists. Hamilton, 6 goals, 8 assists. Wallmark, 3 goals, 10 assists. And Martinuk, 9 goals, 3 assists to round out the top 10 for the Hurricanes. On the Islanders side of things, Barzal, 12 goals, 26 assists. Bailey, 8 goals, 23 assists. Lee, 15 goals and 15 assists for him. Nelson, 13 goals, 13 assists. Filppula, 9 goals, 10 assists. Eberle, 8 goals, 10 assists. Pulak, 3 goals, 15 assists. Cizikas, 10 goals, 7 assists. Beauvillier, 11 goals, 5 assists for 16 points. And Mayfield, with 3 goals, 12 assists, rounds out the top 10. Eberle, recently back from injury. If he can get his scoring going, man, I tell you, the Islanders are legit dangerous. Goaltending, I expect McElhinney. Mrazek is 8-8-2, 2.69 goals against, 900 save percentage with 1 shutout. McElhinney, 9-5-1, 2.20 goals against, 923 save percentage. No shutouts yet, but a very impressive record. On the Islanders side of things, I kind of expect Leonard, but it's not a huge problem if they go with Greiss, because Greiss is 12-7-1, 2.62 goals against, 917 save percentage with a shutout, but Leonard does have excellent numbers. 11-6-3, 2.18 goals against, 927 save percentage, and 2 shutouts, and a coach in Barry Trotz that likes to play the hot hand. So the net may very well belong to Leonard for the most part until the winning comes to an end, because he really enjoys winning, does Barry Trotz, which is part of the reason why you hire him as your coach. These coaches that just sort of, it's all fine. It's fine. That's great for when you're rebuilding, but in the Islanders' case, they didn't want to rebuild this year. Lou knew what he needed, and he went out and got the right coach for it. And so far, for my money, and I understand Flames fans are going to argue that their coach deserves, Adams' nomination and consideration as well, and I agree. And Tampa fans are going to say, hey, what about Cooper and what he's done with Tampa? Okay, but I would still say Trotz is coach of the year this year so far. The season's still, well, it's middle age now, isn't it? It's middle of the season. Next up, Florida, 17-6-7, and doing their best to be mediocre. That's the best I can say about Florida. Nice and mediocre record. They're in against the 23-13-6 Pittsburgh Penguins, who are coming off of a loss. And I expect them to be kind of angry coming off of a loss against Chicago. And now they get Florida. Florida is frustrating. If you're a fan of the Panthers, you've spent this season being frustrated watching a team that all of the ingredients are there to succeed, except a Luongo in his 20s. If Luongo was in his 20s behind this team, he would have played almost every game. He would have stolen games. He'd have a save percentage of around .925. And Florida's in the playoffs. Over their last 10, Florida's 6-3-1. They've lost 2 in a row. Pittsburgh's 8-2. They lost their last game. On the road, Florida's 9-10-2. At home, Pittsburgh's 12-8-2. Versus the East, Florida's 14-10-6. Versus the East, Pittsburgh's 10-9-5. So, overall, some of these numbers look kind of, maybe you could say versus the East, the record favors Florida. But the record was so abysmal for Florida against their own conference that this record doesn't tell you just how well they've been playing against Eastern teams. Scoring leaders for Florida. Huberdeau, 11 goals, 35 assists. Barkov, 16 goals, 26 assists. Hoffman, 20 goals, 18 assists. Dadonov, 17 goals, 18 assists. And Yandel, 6 goals, 29 assists. Scoring is not a problem in Florida. Vetrano, 11 goals, 6 assists. McCann, 7 goals, 10 assists. Ekblad, 8 goals, 8 assists. Matheson, 2 goals, 13 assists. And Trocheck, despite being injured for quite a while, is still top 10 in scoring with 3 goals, 11 assists. And I was seeing that he's close to coming back. I didn't see an actual timeline, but he's close. Pittsburgh. Crosby leads the way, of course, with 19 goals, 32 assists. Kessel, 17 goals, 30 assists. Malkin, 13 goals, 31 assists. Gensel, 18 goals, 20 assists. Letang, 10 goals, 27 assists. Hornquist, 15 goals, 10 assists. Rust, 9 goals, 10 assists. Simone, 6 goals, 11 assists. Brassard, 7 goals, 6 assists. Aston Reese rounds out the top 10 with 6 goals and 5 assists for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Goaltending, I don't know. I don't have any idea which way Florida's going to go. Reimer's 8-7-4, 3.22 goals against, 895 save percentage. They probably go with Luongo. He's 8-8-1, 3.24 goals against, 896 save percentage with a shutout. Pittsburgh, Murray, I would imagine, will start. DeSmith's 12-7-4, 2.47 goals against, 924 save percentage with 2 shutouts. Murray is 11-5-1, 2.89 goals against, 913 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. Murray's been fantastic over the last month, but his stats were such awful hot garbage early in the year that it drags him down. But when you look at his numbers right now, he's up around the average. And like I said, considering where he was, that's pretty good. I have a hard time projecting a win for Florida in this one. So I'm not going to try. I'm not even going to say it's a trap game because Pittsburgh's coming off of a loss against one of the lower rated teams in the league. I know, Chicago owns them, blah, blah, blah. Still, Chicago's near the bottom of the league. Pittsburgh's near the top. That's unacceptable. I expect Pittsburgh to come out pretty strong tomorrow, and I haven't seen anything in Florida's game to tell me that they can answer it. Watch it be like 5-0 for Florida now that I've said it like that, right? I don't have those kind of hockey powers. Next up, Philly. Speaking of not having hockey powers, we were at the Philadelphia Flyers, who are one of the more inept teams in the league. And this is what's funny is that Philly fans will probably say, well, we belong at 31 in your power rankings, where Detroit fans say they belong. But Sens fans have rights to that spot. That's where they want to end up. Philadelphia's now 15-21-6. So the math gets dodgier. It just, they get further and further away from that goal. The Capitals 25-12-4. And coming out of a loss against Detroit, it was a comeback win. Not the greatest win they've had all year, but it's a win. Can they now build some momentum? Philadelphia is 2-6-2 in their last 10. As I said, they've lost 7 in a row. It's just abysmal. The Capitals are 6-3-1 in their last 10. They won their last game. On the road, Philadelphia is 8-11-3. Early in the year, they had a good road record. That's kind of fallen apart. At home, the Capitals are 12-6-2 versus the East. Philadelphia is 8-12-3 versus the East. The Capitals are an impressive 17-5-2. Handle their own conference pretty darn well. Leading scorers for Philadelphia, Giroux, 13 goals, 33 assists. Voracek, 10 goals, 22 assists. Couturier, 15 goals, 14 assists. Konechny, 10 goals, 13 assists. Simmons, 12 goals, 6 assists. How long is he a Flyer? If this keeps up, how much longer is he a Flyer? Gostisbehere, 5 goals, 12 assists. Lawton, 7 goals, 8 assists. Van Riemsdyk, 6 goals, 8 assists. And Provorov and Sanheim both have 4 goals and 9 assists for the Philadelphia Flyers to round out the top 10. On the Washington side, Ovechkin, 30 goals, 17 assists. I don't need to tell people, oh, he's leading the league in goals because it's Ovechkin. Of course he is. Backstrom, 10 goals, 34 assists. Carlson, 6 goals, 33 assists. He was the one that I almost put 2 S's. I was like, he's not Swedish. What are you doing? Kuznetsov, 7 goals, 29 assists. Connolly, 9 goals, 15 assists. Vrana, 12 goals, 9 assists. Wilson, 12 goals, 8 assists. Eller, 6 goals, 12 assists. Oshie, 11 goals, 5 assists. Niskanen mirrors that. 5 goals, 11 assists to round at the top 10. Goaltending, what's Philly going to do? Does McKenna get a start? They played Hart tonight. Are they going to play Hart in a back-to-back? What if Neuwirth's ready? It's going to be interesting. Neuwirth's 1-4-1, 4.27 goals against, 8.59 save percentage. Carter Hart, 2-4-1, 2.68 goals against, 909 save percentage. McKenna, if he plays, 1-4-1, 3.96 goals against, 897 save percentage. I was even reading that Utica had expected McKenna. There's still an expectation that Philly's going to have to waive McKenna. The Canucks will put in a claim, get him back, and he'll still end up in Utica. It's bizarre. On the Washington side of things, I expect Holtby, but Copley's numbers are pretty good. He's 9-2-2, 2.56 goals against, 915 save percentage, and 1 shutout. Holtby, 16-10-2, 2.89 goals against, 910 save percentage, 2 shutouts for Braden Holtby. So yeah, the goaltending carousel in Philadelphia continues. Do they keep Hart up for the rest of the year? Is he going to end up in the American League, or is it going to be a matter of the team going, he looks ready. We'll keep him up. And is that the smart move or not the smart move? My concern has been putting Hart in a season that's kind of garbage. You look last year, Ullmark in Buffalo, he was kind of hidden in Rochester. They're like, this team is bad. We're just going to keep Ullmark away from it. Give him a fresh slate the next season. And as it's turned out, it was the right decision. So what's Philly going to do? But then again, Philly and goaltending decisions, we've discussed that before, and it doesn't necessarily go very well for Philly. All right, last but not least, Columbus and Tampa. This is kind of a no-brainer as to who's going to win, because Tampa lost a game, and yet Columbus, maybe they can go in and play the game of their life tomorrow and pull off a victory over the very impressive Tampa Bay Lightning. Columbus is 24-14-3, so they're no slouch, and they've got other teams in their division they're worried about. They are sitting right now 1 point ahead of the Islanders. They do not want to be a wildcard team. You do not want to be a wildcard team and potentially on the road face either Tampa or Pittsburgh or Washington in the first round. They want to be the number 2 team in the Metro. That is the goal. Number 2 in the Metro is the ultimate goal, I would think. Because number 1 probably doesn't happen because it's Columbus. Columbus, from what I remember, from all the history videos I've done and from all the videos I've done, Columbus has never won their division. They've never been number 1, so I'm not going to assume they can get there, which makes me sound kind of like a jerk. I'm not trying to sound like it. I don't think so. Tampa, 32-8-2. Tampa's been insane. Some great hockey. 32 wins in 42 games. I don't care how you get there. That's impressive. Over their last 10, though, Columbus is 7-2-1. They won their last game. Don't ask Tortorella about how his team's playing. He may not want to tell you right now. Tampa's 8-1-1 in their last 10. They lost their last game. On the road, the Columbus Blue Jackets are 13-6-1. At home, Tampa Bay is 17-4. Versus the East, Columbus is 16-9-1. Versus the East, Tampa Bay is 21-2. 21-2. That's ridiculous. 21-2 is obscene. That's a record you should not see. It maybe in basketball, maybe in baseball. You should never see a record against your own conference of 21-2 in hockey. That's insanity. That's what's going to be working against Columbus, or in their favor. Just the fact it's such an insane record, they're due for a loss against their own conference. But I've been saying that for over 2 months, it seems. Well, the record against their conference is insane, so they'll at least lose a couple. No. Scoring leaders for Columbus: Panarin, 13 goals and 32 assists, the bread man. Atkinson, 24 goals and 18 assists. Now, if Panarin's the bread man, does Atkinson have a nickname? Or no, just Cam? Doesn't get a fun name. Dubois, 16 goals, 21 assists. Jones, 7 goals, 18 assists. Werenski, 9 goals, 14 assists. Foligno, 10 goals, 10 assists. Murray now has 1 goal, 19 assists for 20 points. Anderson, 15 goals and 4 assists. The most quiet 30-goal season ever, if he gets there. Wenberg, 1 goal, 18 assists. And Jenner with 6 goals and 12. And when I say Josh Anderson would have the quietest 30-goal season ever, it's because nobody's talking about it. It's not that he's not playing well. It's just nobody's talking about the goals being scored by Anderson. On the Tampa Bay side of things, Kucherov, 20 goals, 49 assists, leads the league. 69 points. Point, 24 goals, 30 assists. Stamkos, 23 goals, 24 points, 24 assists. So 47 points for Stamkos. Johnson, 18 goals, 13 assists. Gourde, 11 goals, 17 assists. Miller, 7 goals, 19 assists. Hedman, 5 goals, 21 assists. McDonough, 4 goals and 20 assists. Killorn, 10 goals, 12 assists. Cirelli rounds out the top 10 for the Lightning with 9 goals and 7 assists, and that is one hell of a list. Can we just take a moment and just say that is one hell of a list of players? Tremendous skill from top to bottom for Tampa, and now we'll get into the goaltending. I would expect Bobrovsky, because it's a big game. 18, 12, and 1, 2.81 goals against, 908 save percentage. Not Bobrovsky-like numbers. 2 shutouts for him. Korpisalo would be the backup at 6-2 and 2. 3.34 goals against, 888 save percentage. That's crazy. That Korpisalo has that record with that save percentage, and it's weird. On the Tampa side of things, I expect Vasilevsky, because Domingue really hasn't played hardly at all since Vasi came back. Domingue's 15 and 4, 2.99 goals against, 904 save percentage. Vasilevsky 16, 4 and 2, 2.66 goals against, 920 save percentage, and a single shutout. Yes, Tampa Bay does allow a lot of goals. It's the style of hockey they play, though. That fire wagon hockey that both Tampa and Calgary are using to exceed expectations. And in Tampa's case, they were expected to be excellent. They're still exceeding excellent. It's so much fun to see that kind of hockey back. Now, the problem is, as we get through the season, those goals against will start dropping, so will the goals for. Even with Tampa, you'll see things getting clawed back a bit. I don't know by how much, but it'll happen. This is an interesting matchup because, again, Columbus needs this. Tampa doesn't really need it, but Tampa's been winning games they don't need for a month and a half now. They're just cruising, and it's almost as if they look at the record book and they're saying, you know what, we have a shot at a record here, and we can keep going. Now, odds are they tail off a bit in the second half, but even if they tailed off in the second half and got, 45 points, they'd end up with 107. Yeah, it's insane at this stage. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. I intend to go drop dead now because I'm really exhausted, and my brain kind of gave out halfway through the totals on Tampa. That's why I said points for Stamkos when I meant assists, because my brain's like, just finish it. Just finish it here. We're done. I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching and for your patience with me when I'm insomnia, Shannon, and I'm trying to figure it out. But tomorrow we'll be back to the regular schedule of video goodness, and there's some video topics people have been sending me that I'm really considering taking a look at a couple of teams more in depth with where they've fallen apart, because that's always an interesting video topic, and we'll get into that tomorrow. But yeah, so let me know your picks. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.